Oh, hello everyone. There we go. Tells me I'm live. Hello, hello. If you are new to me, my name is Tiffany Solorio. I've been paper crafting for about 15 years. I've been on YouTube for about 15 years, and I'm super excited to join Justine and Laurel and all the other amazing speakers and presenters for the Paper Crafters Get Organized Summit. I'm super passionate about getting organized. Some of my craft room is a little bit of it looks organized, but my closet, if you follow me on YouTube, you know that my closet is horrendous. So we all have that kind of vice, I guess, that is, yeah, but I'm really passionate about organizing because since I've been getting organized in my craft room, it really helps me creatively. And when I purge, that ugly word that most of us don't like, purge, purge, purge. I cannot recommend that enough. All right. Hello, Crafting ABC. You have your card blanks in a drawer ready to use. What are the dividers that you use to separate them? Are these homemade or purchased? Let me grab that organizer just real quick. It's right here. I actually should have thought about things that I showed in my class so that I could have them ready. But so this is, if you haven't seen my presentation, this is an organizer that I use. And the dividers are actually these from scrapbook.com. I don't know if they sell these individually, but these came with these white bins actually to divide whatever. And I just cut them down to fit. And so that's what I've been using, but you could definitely make your own. You could, cut out a template and make it out of cardstock. The only thing is that it has like this little tab. So that's really helpful. But yeah, hope that answers your question. Hello, Nancy. Could you recommend using plastic storage for juicy stamp pads? I noticed you use a wooden storage items. Yeah, so I use the Organize More. Man, my hair. The Organize More paper or the ink storage. But I actually saw this question before I went live, so that's why I have this. But I use this plastic storage bin. You could probably find something at Dollar Tree. Doesn't have to be super expensive. But I use this for all of my Catherine Pooler inks. And these are juicy. So it's easy to clean, although some of them probably will end up staining my storage, but I don't really mind. So hope that helps. Hello, Alexis. What is that white basket that was hanging off your rolling cart near the beginning of your video? Oh, this one. This, I believe I got at IKEA. And it just has these two little hangers here. I think, is this for the pegboard? It might be for the pegboard system. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it would have me reaching for something way over there, but yeah, it's this one. I believe it's from IKEA, and I think it's in the pegboard system. I hope that helps. Do you store your alcohol markers horizontally or vertically? I have the Woohoo. They had sent me some markers, but I just store them in the container that they came in, so vertically. Yeah, I don't really use alcohol markers that often, so I don't know really the proper way to store them. It would probably horizontally might be better. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I hope that helps. Best craft room organization tip. Okay. My number one thing is to purge. I know many of us, like I said in the beginning, don't like that word because we get attached to things. But honestly, if you're going into your craft room wanting to create and you're looking through your stamps and nothing is inspiring you, you're just overwhelmed by the mess, or just even your little set of stamps. You don't necessarily have to have a huge room full of things, But if nothing is inspiring you and you're just feeling overwhelmed more than inspired, then I definitely feel like purging is the number one tip I can give you. The second one is um, whether you have, and this goes to my presentation, whether you have a huge craft room or a tiny space, or you craft on your dining room table, having things organized and ready to use, pulled out, so you can pull it out. If you know, again, if you're crafting on your dining room table, you could pull out those bins. Say you want to do coloring or alcohol inks or whatever. So having everything organized, like I have my all of my most used tools organized near me. So it really helps. So those are my two best craft room organization tips. What is your favorite tool in your craft room? Hmm. I honestly would have to say my Misty. I'm a stamper, so I started out stamping, and yeah, I think the Misty has really changed it, or like, some sort of stamping platform thing has really changed the game for me because I wasn't the greatest stamper. So yeah, I think my Misty probably. Hi, Arlene. Do you break up sets when you purge, like get rid of a stamp but keep the die? It depends. Like if it's a like a sentiment die or a sentiment stamp set that I'm getting rid of, obviously it doesn't make sense to keep the die and vice versa. So sometimes I will. It just depends. Like layering stencils obviously go with a layering, whether it's foil, the foil plate, or the stamp or something. So I try to keep things together. Actually, now thinking it through. But if there is something where I'm like, no, I actually really love whatever, then I'll keep one and then get rid of the other, unless of course it coordinates together and there's no other use for it. Hello. How do you store cardstock, vertical or horizontal? I do it vertical. I don't have a whole lot of cardstock. My colored cardstock is in one of these little, they're like the little magazine holders, cheap one from IKEA. That's the extent of my colored cardstock. So, hi, Jessica. What do you do with the things you purge? So, there's a few different things. First, depending on what it is, I kinda let my daughter kinda pick and choose sometimes. Her bin's right there, it is jam-packed, um, full of things now, so I won't give her that option, unless it's like a cat stamp or, like, something that I know that she loves, I'll just give it to her. And then my niece actually does a lot of crafting as well, so I give it to her or let my mom and her choose kind of what she's gonna keep. And then I sell on Facebook Marketplace. I live in a small town, so I don't really fear people coming to my house. It's definitely not the same for everybody, but and then I think this time around, I'm thinking about doing some giveaways, and then for like my gently used items. And then I've also thought about like women's shelters, or there's a senior center here. I think I could see if they're going to use some of that too. So there's lots of things that can be done with all of the things that you purge. And it's hard to purge. um, Hi, Linda. How do you organize everything when there are multiple things in one pack, like flower stamp with sentiments or a die set that has a house, flowers, etc.? So that's a great question. So what I do is I look at the stamp and try to think about why I purchased it. Like for instance, floral stamps for the most part, if they have even if they have like little sentiments in them, I purchased it for the floral. So that's how I organize it. But if it's like mostly sentiments and then it has like a couple little, you know, um, like a little house or a heart or something like that, I will store it with the sentiments. So I kind of think about why I purchased it and then I organize it that way. Do you ever use 12 by 12 paper? Hi, Jean. Sorry. Do you ever use 12 by 12 paper? And if so, how do you store it? I don't anymore. I used to a lot, and I did purge a lot of 12 by 12 paper and 6 by 6, 8 by 8. I do have a small-ish collection, probably about that big, maybe the size of a small cat. If you'd missed yesterday's kickoff party, Justine had asked, "What is the pile of your paper stash?" So mine's probably the size of a small cat. Anyways, I store it in IKEA now has like these dividers, almost like paper dividers that go so kind of like that shelf, but think of more um dividers in it, and I do it the opposite way. So they're stored vertically, and that's how I do mine. If I have collections, I store them in like these totes here, that kind of thing. So, but I don't use too much 12 by 12 paper anymore. Did you ever try an organization solution that just didn't work? Yes, actually. I believe Tracy talked about this earlier in hers too. It was the Rascot cart or like a cart. Um, in our old house, the floors were laminate, and so it kind of worked. And was in a small space, so I kind of like shoved. I think I stored all of my sprays in it at the time, and so I was able to like bring all of my sprays to me, push it away, and I had like this little tiny space. And it worked, even though it was very frustrating at times because it would get in the way and it would just fill up with junk. And then I tried it here as far as like one that I roll, you know, uh, constantly to me. It just didn't work. So I gave it to my daughter and she actually just gave it back to me. And I was like, maybe I could do like my Bible journaling, like a Bible journaling cart or something. And then I just remembered it just doesn't work for me. So that's the one thing that I've tried. It just doesn't work. Hello, Cynthia. Do you have any suggestions for cardstock paper categories? I have a rainbow order for solid and pattern papers, but I don't know how to include my themed collection and stickers. I'm I don't really so my papers are stored by brand. So that's how I store mine. So I don't know. Um yeah, I wonder if you catch any other lives, if you can ask that question to someone else that maybe categorizes them that way, because I don't really have a great answer for that. I apologize, Cynthia. Hi, Linda. What's your system for paper scraps? So before it was just kind of a big mishmash. Um, and I just kind of toss everything. I don't really have a lot of paper scraps or end up with a lot of paper scraps anymore. Because before I was doing a lot more like altered mixed media projects. Now it's basically like background, card base, sentiment, or die cut kind of thing. But I keep them in envelopes. And I actually just had a video um, on my YouTube channel where how I store my backgrounds and I do my scraps the same exact way. So I have like all of my white, black, and then like specialty. Again, I don't use a lot of colored cardstock. So I don't store them in any really particular way because I don't use them. But I hope that helps a little bit. Hello, Arlene. Do you stamp off each stamp for a master file? I do not. I don't. That's actually kind of a good idea, but I don't do that. No. Come on, keep those questions coming, or else you're going to get some weird dancing from me. Tell us a little bit about your summit freebie. Okay, so my freebie is, I have it here and I meant to grab it, but then it's this one here, I believe. Yes. 10 tips to organize your craft space. There's lots of tips in here, 10 exactly. And then some resources on the back, how to find me on social media, my craft room organization, must-haves, things like that. Yeah, it's great. So be sure to download that. And then also, I am giving away 4 $25 gift cards to Amazon. So be sure to enter for that as well. And I did want to mention that I have seen people unsubscribe from my email list that only entered the giveaway. If you unsubscribe from the email list before the summit is over, then your name gets taken off, like it's not there anymore. So be sure to stay subscribed to people's email list at least till after the summit. Hopefully forever, but hey Jessica, think back when you first realized you had a collection of craft supplies and you needed to get organized. What was the one thing that helped you get organized that you still use today? Bins, honestly. So um well, my first organization product was like I think it was like 3 or 4 tiered plastic tote bin thing, like a Rubbermaid. Um, and that's what I used at the very beginning. And then we moved, and I was able to have like a little bit bigger space in our bedroom. And then I moved to bins, and I think it was Michael's maybe that had these bins, and then you like screwed them together, like you had to kind of assemble them, I think like little shoe boxes or something. I had a ton of those, and then my desk had like this bar underneath, and I would just organize all of my things under there, like my ribbon, my flowers, sprays, things like that. So I still use lots of bins everywhere, different kinds of bins, but bins to keep everything contained in their little spaces. Hello, Ivy Medin. What's one thing in your craft room you cannot live without? Hmm. Ooh, that's a good one. There's so many things. Um, I don't know, like sprays, my alcohol inks. Um, I always have to have coffee. uh, yeah, that one's put me on the spot. Back to hello, Jean. Back to pre-cutting your cards. Do you pre-cut both full cards or just card fronts? So I do card bases, and I actually just use cheap cardstock for my card bases usually. Although lately I haven't been putting my card fronts on card bases. It's just easier to store that way. And then also I'm very messy as far as like sprays and inks and things like that. So uh, the backs of my cards would always have ink or something smudged on them. So I would have to redo them anyways to put them on like a clean card base if I were to send them out. Um, I think I'm getting off track. Do you pre-cut both full cards or so yeah, I do card bases and then the card fronts. And I do card fronts in all sorts of different things that I use. So like alcohol ink cardstock, Nina, all of the things. So an offering of praise. Hello. Maybe this already has already been asked, but in your freebie you mentioned color coding. What do you color code? Um Color coding. That's maybe color coding wasn't the right wording. I use like a rainbow order, if that helps. Color coding would be good for maybe like how you store your stamps. I don't typically do that, so color coding may not have been the right wording. Rainbow order is what I use, and it's usually like the distress rainbow because that's the ones that I use. So yes, watch artists video. Hello, Cynthia. What would you recommend for someone just starting card making that has never used stamps? Um, this is really hard because back when I started, YouTube really and social media wasn't really a thing. So I didn't get as much um like pressure to like all the new things, all the, all of the things. So I think it's Hmm. I would probably recommend going, and if you're just starting out, not sure if you like it or not, I would start off by going to, when I first started, I would shop at the dollar bins. Um, I know they're not dollar anymore, but like at Michael's, and I would shop at Big Lots, had a lot of like paper and different stamps and things like that. So I would kind of start off dipping your toes a little bit in things, and then, not spending a ton of money on the cheaper stuff, and then if you do decide, "Yes, this is something I'm obsessed with," which probably is gonna happen, then I would suggest buying, name brand stamps, things like that. So, I don't know if I answered that. Maybe if I think of it, if you email me, I can think of something and then give you a better answer. Um Hello, Renee. I hope I'm saying your name right. Do you have a preferred paper trimmer? I do. It is, can't really see it. It's a Fiskars. It folds. I absolutely love it. And they don't make it anymore. And I'm going to be sad when mine breaks, if mine breaks. But that's the one I use. I love it. I don't really use a small trimmer. I've tried the Tonics, the guillotine one, the smaller one. And I just always end up getting a wonky cut. So that's the one I always use. So I hope that helps. Hello, Teresa. Where do you donate your craft products? So when I donate, I haven't donated a whole lot yet, but I've actually done, quite a few years ago. A lady was doing some craft classes for teens. So I gave her a ton of stuff. And then you can always donate to your local thrift stores. Like we have one here, and they do a lot for the community as far as like helping with food pantry, things like that. So whatever they sell in their thrift store, they give back to the community. So that is an option, depending on where you live. Senior centers, if you have if you know a kindergarten teacher or like a grade school teacher, they are probably always wanting supplies for their classrooms. Where else? Women's shelters, also heal vets. I don't know if they take actually craft supplies, but I was just thinking of maybe an organization that helps with like mental health, like crafting in that sense, maybe something like that. So I would definitely look in your areas, because every area is going to have different things. So hello, my paper kits. What do you do with all the cards you make? I hoard them. I get attached to my cards. I hate sending them out because I love them. But I should start sending them out. I do send out handmade Christmas cards now. I used to not. Um, but my daughter uses more than I do, like for her friends and things like that. She's always looking through my cards, and I don't. There's only a couple where I'm like, there's no way you're giving this away to a 12-year-old. But for the most part, she's able just to take whatever. But I love them. I can't part with them. Hello, Jennifer. What triggers or motivates you to start purging and sticking with it? I kind of touched on this a little bit. So, I actually went through this a few months back when I came in here and I wanted to create something, and I was looking through my stamps and I just couldn't find anything. I was frustrated with, and I don't really honestly have a ton of stamps. I have my Tim Holtz stamps. I have a bin full of like large stamps, and then I have a fridge bin. Like I don't have rows and rows and rows and rows of stamps. Um Anyways, but when I was looking through them and I was getting frustrated, and then when I look through my drawers and I'm like, why is all this stuff in here? This thing is all going to be purged stuff. There's like glitter, and I've purged my glitter and things like that before, embossing powder, all of that kind of stuff, but I just don't use it anymore. So when I know I'm not going to use it, and it creates like mental clutter. So I want to come in here and enjoy my space and just be happy that I'm in here and just be inspired by everything. And so when that feeling is kind of getting lower, then that's when I know I need to do a purge. And sometimes it's honestly, the first time I did it, it was just one row of stamps. I was like, okay, I need to get rid of some of these. And I just put them aside. And sometimes, a lot of people get caught up with the word purge or declutter, but you can even just do one little bin or say, okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes, whatever, floats your boat. But I do think purging is definitely something that we all could be doing. Hello, Jessica. Do you have a time limit for a crafting product to be purged? For example, I haven't used this in the last year, so I have to purge it. Not necessarily. I know a lot of like content creators get rid of retired things. If it's like a super favorite of mine, like I have some like Prima stamps that I absolutely love from like Finnabair and things like that that I will not part with anytime soon. Um, and I don't use them that often, but I don't really have a time limit. No, it's no. Simple answer, no. Hello, Norma. Do you keep templates of your handmade cards or do you just sign them as you go along? If yes, then how do you store all of your card templates samples? I don't have templates, no. Um, and I don't know exactly what you mean by templates. Oh, I did. Oh, so like yeah, the design. No. Sometimes Mojo Monday, if you have been around in the crafting world for a while, Verve Stamps, Verve. She is no longer in business anymore, but I was a part of her design team for quite a long time, and she used to have a lot of great sketches, like card sketches. I used to do those a lot. But if I need inspiration for a design, I'll probably just Google like card sketch or even like a scrapbook sketch. Then that way you can kind of see where things are and then get inspired that way. So, hey Stacy, what tasks do you do on your monthly craft room reset? Okay, so I do quite a bit. If you are a ticket holder, you actually got my craft room reset checklist in the freebie that I gave or yeah. Anyways, I re-ink my inks, I cut my cardstock, I clean um most used supplies like tools. What else do I do? Sometimes I'll give myself like 5 minutes or 10 minutes to like purge something or clean out a drawer, just to name a few. And if you were a part of last year's summit, then I gave that actually for free, but it's actually part of a bigger bundle thing that I gave this year for the bundle pass holders. Hello, Dorothy. Have you ever gone through a time when you just could not stamp? You just didn't feel like creating? Yes, I'm actually kind of going through that right now, to be honest. Um, but I do find things that I enjoy doing. I actually really enjoy making reels and like shorts. And I could do alcohol ink all day, every day. But as far as like creating full projects, I'm just not in it right now for some reason. I don't know. It just yeah, sometimes I go through that and I just let it go and then, it just happens sometimes. All right. Okay, it's time to wrap up. Thank you so much for joining. I hope everybody is enjoying the summit. And if you want to follow me more, you can just search my name here on YouTube, follow me here and over on Instagram. That's where you kind of get sneak peeks in the stories of my true personality, I guess. And yeah, I think that's it. All right. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye.